Hi, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and today we're going to start tearing this 2012 Snapper mine apart and get it ready for next spring. I want to completely go through it just like I did my Bosses. We're going to be disassembling everything. I'm going to replace every bushing and bearing that needs replacing. Some of them we're going to replace if it needs it or not, because they have better bearings on the market than what comes in these things. I want to explain a safety feature on this particular deck that I get a lot of questions on, and I'm going to go over that before I take the deck off. So let me move the camera and we'll get started on this. Okay, this is a shift lever on my machine. I have a clamp on the clutch so I can shift it freely. Okay, we'll try that again. The clamp fell off. Now, when you engage your mower deck with this lever, and you step on these pedals, let me swing this up, you step on these pedals to keep the deck engaged, you're going to see a little finger come out and block this slot. That's for reverse. What you have to do before you engage your deck and step on these pedals, you have to push down on this little silver tab. That blocks this lever. This one does not work right because when I let go of it, it's supposed to fall down. It's supposed to move freer than this one does. So if you push down on this, step on your pedal, that lever blocks this locking mechanism, and you can mow in reverse and going forward as much as you want until you take your feet off these pedals and let them come up. Then this little lever will pop down and fall out of place. When you step on these pedals again, if you don't push this little lever down to block that, you can't go in reverse. So once you deactivate this safety, you're good until you lift your foot off the pedals that keeps your deck engaged. Now, a lot of people find that to be a huge nuisance because they don't have small kids, and neither do I. One way you can do it that's quick and easy is you take a small 1-inch C-clamp and you put it on here and just clamp that thing in the down position. Then every time you push your pedal down, it will block this safety tab and you'll be able to mow backwards. Or if you have trouble with this, worried about this coming off, just take the nut off of the bolt and take this arm right off. That's what I will do on mine because I don't have kids I have to worry about using this and getting hurt. If you have kids or grandkids, you may want to leave that on because it really isn't that big of a deal to just push this down when you engage your mower deck. Okay, as long as we're talking about this safety, we might as well unhook it. There's a cable that goes around to your foot pedal, whatever. And that comes up to this lever, and that's what activates it. So on the end of this, there's a adjustment on here where you can adjust the cable to get it so it works properly. On the end of that, there's a rubber boot. You have to slide that rubber boot back down the cable. Let me put that in reverse. Then you got to unscrew the nut all the way off the end of the adjuster. Then you pull it out of the hole, and there's a slot in the side of the hole the cable comes out of. Then you can come back here and unhook the spring. This is the adjuster I was talking about. The nut goes all the way on when you reassemble it, and this little rubber boot slides down the cable and covers up the end of that tube so you don't get dirt or water in it. Next thing you're going to need is a pair of side cutters. You've got to reach down inside of here and cut an elastic tie on this wire. There's an electrical wire that comes up off the deck for the switch that lets the machine know if you got the mower deck engaged or disengaged. So you got to get down in here and try to cut that tie without cutting the wire. What they put that on there for, well, I'll show you after I unplug the two wires. Now these just have male and female connectors on them. You can unplug them without doing any wiring, and then pull it out the hole. On the end of this wire, when it's through the hole in the machine, they kink it over and put an elastic tie around that. That keeps it from coming out of the hole when you don't want it out. So you just, I don't know what I did with that tie, it fell somewheres. You just cut the tie, straighten the wire out, and you can pull it right out of the hole. Now these two connectors, I labeled these. You don't have to, because that's just a single. It's either normally open or normally closed switch. It only has two wires. It doesn't matter which one of these wires go up here. What I use to label wires with is this thing. You can buy these at any good electrical store. They've got 10 little doors on them. You open the door up, and it's got a roll of tape in there with numbers on it. You just pull out the length you need. That one happens to be, I don't know if you can see it, that's a number 4. You pull out what you need and rip it off. Wrap it around the wire. These are really handy to have around. I use them at work a lot. Now the next thing you want to unhook are these chains that the back of the deck hangs from. Just pull the hairpin out and pull it out of the bracket. There's one on both sides. Now on the front of the deck, you'll need a regular screwdriver. And I don't know if I'm not going to be able to get the camera down under there. So you can see what I've got to do. But there's a clip under there. If you put a screwdriver in it, the side of it, the clip will pop right out. And it'll come off on your screwdriver. Just a small little C-clip. And you put the screwdriver right under this part on the top. Twist the screwdriver, it'll pop it right off. Then you can pull the pin out from the other direction. But first, we got to unhook the belt and get that off. Okay, you got to loosen this up, or actually just about take it off to get the belt out, because it has a keeper on the side of the pulley so the belt don't come off every time you put it in neutral. And there's one on the spindle pulley. That one you can usually flex over and pop the belt out. This one, it's too stiff. You can't do that. You're going to need a 9/16 wrench and socket to get that apart. And these are self-locking nuts, so you're going to have to wrench them pretty much all the way off. Once you get the belt off, you can put it back together so you don't misplace the parts. This one, like I said, you can just flex it over and pull the belt out. That's it. Now we got to pull that pin out and we can pull the deck out of here. Okay, we're back on the front. We'll reach up under here. If you lift on the deck a little bit, it'll make it easier to pull the pin out. And that's all there is to that. Now we can get the machine off of the deck. Now if you want to, you can grab the deck and pull it out sideways. I found it's just as easy to pick the machine up and just roll it backwards. And I do the same thing when I want to put the deck back on. Okay, I got the deck up on the bench. I just love lifting these things. I want to check the spindle bearings. Basically all you have to do is grab the end of the blade and try to move it. See if you have any wiggle in it. And this is extremely tight. I don't feel anything. You want to check the distance between the cutting edge of the blade out at the tip and the rim of the deck. Make sure that's the same on both sides of the blade. If you want, you can spin this and see if this side is the same, which it is. That tells me nothing in there is bent or knocked out of alignment, which can happen pretty easy if you hit something hard enough. Let's flip it over and check the top. Okay, next thing I want to check is this idler pulley. They give you a lot of problems. I'm not sure if this one's been replaced already. It's not red. I would think most of them are painted red. Let me check this one. No, that one's not either. It's gray like this one is. So apparently they don't paint them. But this one has a problem. It don't spin bad. We'll be replacing that. If you want to check the top, I feel no movement at all in these bearings. And if you engage the deck, which disengages your brake, you can turn this. I hear a little dragging noise from the brake. I think my bearings are fine. You have to remember where you buy these things from or who you buy them from will determine how much work you're going to have to do to them if you want to bring them back to new condition. I bought this machine from an elderly couple in Ludington, Michigan. They live down by the lake, and their yard was smaller than this building. They call them a postage stamp. They lived right in town. The houses are like, I don't know, they're probably on a 50 or 60 foot wide lot. He had a couple garages, really cut down on his yard. you could have mowed that whole thing with a walk behind in about 15 minutes. The most work this thing actually ever got was probably sucking leaves. So I can't say I'm going to have to do a whole lot of work to this thing to bring it back to new condition. But we're going to tear it all apart. We're going to get inside of the chain case and differential and see what that looks like. I will be welding the vent holes shut, putting new seals on it, and I'll be using 80-90 gear lube and not Snapper RER. We'll open them up and see what that stuff looks like. I can guarantee you it's probably hardened up just like grease, and at that point the chain and gears don't throw it around like it's supposed to lubricate the bearings that are in there. So that'll be the next thing we do. Well, that'll be something that I will be doing. It won't be the next thing. I've got a lot of stuff to tear apart on this first. The next thing I'm probably going to do, we're going to pull the engine and the gas tank and get them off of there and take a look. I'll probably take the seat off because one of the handles under the seat that you can loosen to adjust the seat is stripped out. I'm going to have to cut it off. The seat is all the way back, for he was a taller gentleman like I am, so I wouldn't really have to move the seat, but I want to fix it up right. It'll all be done on videos. Now, speaking of fixing, I have my turtle over here all tore apart as far as I'm going to go with it. I find nothing wrong with this machine outside of the starter was shot. The bottom of the starter fell off. If you want to look back in some videos, if you're new, you'll see how I fixed that starter, or I should say I'll show you how my boss fixed it. I put it on there the other night, fits right on, it works great. The engine runs good because I took the cap off the top and I put I got a 1/2 horse drill, a large socket on the nut, and I spun the engine over and started right up, and I actually mowed my yard with this thing. The only thing that's wrong with it was that stupid starter. So if you have one of these, you're having issues with it, let me know so I can point out the problems on this one, because in a couple of weeks I'm going to be putting this back together and getting it out of my way. So that's it for now. If you have any questions or comments on these mower decks, or how to get them off, or what to do with that safety, like I said, it all depends on your particular situation, and if you have small kids. If you have small kids, please leave it on. It's not that much of a hassle to reach down and push that little thumb lever to lock it out so you can mow in reverse. The only thing I can see with that is once a kid sees you do that, he's going to know how to get around it. What can I say? It's not foolproof. But they wouldn't have went through the time and effort to do it if somebody didn't get hurt. And I sure wouldn't want that to happen. So if you have kids, think about it before you disconnect any safeties. If you have any questions or comments, put them in that box below or send me an email. I answer every question I get. I had a viewer the other day sent me an email and he said, I really hate to bother you because I know how many emails you get. Don't worry about it. If you have a question, ask me. I don't care what it is. There is no stupid questions, only stupid answers. And I'll do my best to help you through whatever issue you have with these snappers. Don't forget to subscribe. It really does help me as far as sending these videos out for other people to find when they need help. This big massive Google computer pulls out the videos it thinks you should see, and it does that by subscribers, views, and thumbs up. So if you think I've got a good video, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone, and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll talk to you soon. So work safe, have fun, and let's get this thing running like new. Talk to you later.